The results for day one special stages would see Hubert, Keen and Van der Merwe holding down the top three places going into day two, with Barker, Pobler and Kutsia continuing to chase. Day two dawned on a serene setting that would unveil the literal quiet after the storm. But the quiet would soon be shattered as the off-road warriors took to the roads for the remaining 7 stages on the Saturday. The Jojo Tanks VW Beetle of Jackie Hubert and Danny Smith had the honors of blazing the trail as they continued to throw down the gauntlet to the other competitors. Or was it a case of the gauntlet being slapped through their faces? Starting the day in the order that they held on the overall time and position log, Enzo Keen and Johan Seeling set out in the Colt Rodeo with every intent of hunting the Beetle. If Keen wanted more rain on day two, then he must have been hoping that he had not used up all his rain wishes the night before and would have to settle for rallying in the dry. Sarel van der Merwe in the second of the Colt Rodeos was once again giving 110% as he put the Colt through some paces that it didn't even know it had. Cliff Barker and Vic Camper in the Quadrosure Land Rover would press hard in conditions that suited them better, and where they would try and make up for their slower times in the night stages on day one. Hein Hubler and Nissan Hardbody co-driver Gerhard Prinsloo was turning on a great deal of pace, but they too could simply not make inroads on the front runners Hubert and Smith. They were nonetheless turning in a smooth and consistent performance that would stand them in good stead to the end. With the daylight conditions came improved visibility that would bring about a new confidence in Kasi Kutsia and Aki Fari, and the Jeep Cherokee duo aptly attacked the course with enthusiasm as they too tried to improve upon their time from day one. After stage 9, the Colt Rodeo crews and drivers must have been wondering what it was that they had to do in order to reel in the runaway 4x4 VW Beetle of Hubert and Smith.
We were hoping for the rain. It's come. It's working our way. We had to put these big monsoon tires on, and it raises the car by about a foot, but it helps us through the rough patches, and you know, the people seem to ride out the tracks, and it makes the center of the road very high. That's where the smaller cars are struggling. So it's showing on the times immediately. We managed second fastest time on the last stage. I see Jackie Hubert has also taken some time off Habig. So the off-road guys are smiling. We're climbing the ladder.
Had a bit of a problem this morning. Our spare wheel caught a light rubbing against the exhaust pipe. But yes, I think if we can carry on like this, the off-road cars will certainly do well. I think Jackie is very close to the lead in the Volkswagen.
This morning was quite wet. It's more off-road conditions for me. The first section was quite rough also. In my opinion, I think the rally cars struggled a bit. I think we've got an advantage on them.
The route is wet and a bit rough, so yeah, we didn't go mad, but it was going well, very well, yes.
It was quite muddy, a couple of jumps, and we're really enjoying it. And I saw a lot of cars pulling out and stuck in the mud, but we keep going. And the roads are pretty wet, and there's a lot of mud. So I'm looking forward for a couple of stages who's left this afternoon.
Talk is cheap, so back to the racing the drivers went in order to do what words couldn't explain. Hubert and Smith were immediately back to their old ways of steaming to the front and leaving everyone in their muddy wake. Inside the Nissan Hardbody of Probler and Prinsloo, the view looked more like the setting for a powerboat race, and then it was evident that it was a swamp buggy event. But this is what off-road racing and rallying is all about. A mixture of all the elements, and the Videosport Off-Road Challenge sure provided the competitors with all the elements that they could have wished for. Keen was reveling in the conditions behind the wheel of the number 14 Colt Rodeo, but was still hard-pressed to catch Hubert, who was often matching and beating the times of the top rally cars. We take a look at the business end of the cod rodeo as we ride on board with Keane and Sealing. And if Keane wanted mud, he got mud. Was having an absolute party in the Jeep Cherokee, looking more like a wild Mustang let loose on the plains as he flung the big machine around the stage in energetic style. Cliff Barker and Vic Camper in the Quadricure Land Rover somehow could not find the turn of pace that they had earlier in day one, and now found themselves chasing down the time gap between themselves and Keane instead of Hubert. Putting this aside, the pair were looking determined and quick, with Land Rover still sounding healthy. With enthusiastic local support like this, who could not have been racing quicker, even if it was only through that section? The final stages would take the race to the tar roads that would make the off-road tires scream in agonized torture as the drivers exercised their tarmac skills. It was a matter of so near yet so far as Hubert Smith in the Jojo Tanks VW Beetle forged ahead in the lead. They could taste the victory, but they first had to cross the finish line. Keane was squeezing every ounce that he could out of the cod rodeo as he and Sealing refused to let up on the pressure and continued to hound the leaders. Still running in third place overall in the Videosport Off-Road Challenge, Barker fancied keeping the Quadricure Land Rover on the dirt as much as he could while waiting to capitalize on any mistakes from Keane or Hubert on the final stages of the event. Consistency from Probler and Prinsloo in the Nissan hardbody had always kept them within sight of the leaders. And on their final run to the finish, Probler is still pushing hard and ends up using more than the tar to gain valuable time. Kasi Kutsia and Aki Furi's arrival in the Jeep Cherokee signaled another exciting moment for the crowd who had been entertained all day long. Kutsia's adventures into the dirt earning the cheers of the spectators, and it seemed like he was having the greatest amount of fun toward the end of the rally. It was now all over bar the shouting as the teams headed onto the final sections of the last special stage, and the wishes of equipment that would last would start ringing in their minds, except of Cliff Barker, whose driving antics was about to give new meaning to the word radical. As Hein Probler took to the final few sections, the rally had already drawn to an end for those who started ahead of him on the road. At the finish, Hubert Smith in the Jojo Tanks VW Beetle took their place of honor on the podium. The Videosport Off-Road Challenge win belonged to them, with Keane and Sealing and Barker and Camper rounding out the top three places. Probler and Prinsloo laid claim to fourth place, while Kutsia and Furi finished fifth in the Jeep Cherokee. Hubert and Smith were also declared the overall winners of the PMC Toyota Dealers National Rally.
Well, I was trying to do well. I've never looked at times really. I only hear from people where, what, but I'm having fun. Plenty of fun.
I think we had a lot of fun. I was happy to be in a 4x4 truck today. The roads were terribly muddy and lots of water, you know, in some of the stages. But it was good to do a rally again, you know. I miss the rallying.